Hello, welcome back to another Mega Mirror Live, and we have another fun show for you tonight. On this edition of the Mega Mirror Live, we have with us a very popular creator who comes to us via the NASA Black Site 69. He's a mighty hunk of burning debunk and a very popular man in the side chats of many of the big league live streams. Much of that popularity comes from his YouTube moniker. That's right, folks. Tonight we welcome Hugh Jarsz. So if you are a fan of Aussie humor and appreciate good banter with a side order of smarts, then you've come to the right stream. So get your drinks and have a seat, because we're going to have more fun than putting a shrimp on the Barbie at a belly flop competition when we come back. And we're back. For those of you just joining us, we have with us everyone's favorite hunk of burning debunk, direct from NASA Black Site 69, Hugh Jarsz. I'm very happy to have him with us, so let's bring him on. Hello, Hugh. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Jeff. How are you?
I am good. How are you, sir?
I'm all right. I was a bit surprised when you were saying it was this really popular guy coming on. I was getting a little excited, but then I realized it was me.
Well, you are quite popular. Your name sure does get around, that's for sure.
Hey, it's not just my name, it's who I am.
That's right, and that's what we all love about you, my friend. Before we get started, though, let's go around the room and introduce the crew. First of all, monitoring the side chat and taking questions for our guests, we have the lovely Aimee Hogan. How are you, Aimee?
I am doing great. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Hello, everybody in the chat. This is going to be a great show. Hugh is awesome. And I want to let everyone know in the chat, if you have any questions or comments, please direct them to the iNetwork and we'll make sure that they get read out for you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Aimee. And of course, the man who's keeping us live and pushing all the buttons, the good Mr. Colon. How are you, sir?
I'm not too bad today. A little bit of a runaround, went a bit of Christmas shopping, but safely and coordinatively, wearing a mask, being safe. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I've been following you since you started kicking off, especially after the day you popped into Mr. Sensible. All good fun.
Yeah, that was good fun. That was very good fun. I remember that as well. So, all right. Well, then let's kick things off and see what we can find out about this guy, the big man on scene. And we'll start with a question that I usually always start with, and that is for the viewers who may not be familiar with you. Can you fill us in on what your channel is all about and how you got started in all this?
Well, it started at the same time as a couple of other creators. We're on Mr. Sensible stream, as you mentioned earlier. And we came to the conclusion that this needs the things that we were looking at, which was mainly flat earthers, but conspiracy nutters in general, they needed to be opposed. And for me personally, it was more about my 20-year-old daughter. Not that she in particular would be susceptible to such things, but people who are young and inexperienced and not knowledgeable about the world, which she resonates with. And I'm not saying that to be insulting to her. It's just that I was that age too, and I was exactly the same. And they're more susceptible. Yeah. And they're more susceptible to people who, the conspiracy nutters are very, very persuasive. That doesn't mean they're right. That just means that they're very good at convincing you that they're right. And they're not. And it's so easy to prove that they're not right. And I thought, I need to get my voice out there as well so that people like my daughter are less likely to fall for this sort of rubbish and waste their lives on it. And that's why I started my channel. And that's the sort of things that I do in the videos that I do.
Excellent. And how has your time on YouTube been since you came on the scene?
It's been an interesting roller coaster ride. I'm amazed that anyone watches my videos at all, but that's not the point. I do it because it's fun. And it's certainly, I think it's the way people react to my videos, the message is definitely out there and it's being communicated correctly. PhD Tony reckons the best part of my videos is the corgi. So, hey, to each their own, whatever that appeals to people.
Exactly. I mean, you seem to be doing a pretty good job of it. You're obviously quite knowledgeable, and you do your research, which is what they're always telling us to do. It's funny how they don't seem to manage to do it themselves.
That's because they don't know what research is. They
That's
think
right.
watching YouTube videos is research, but you have to do an awful lot more than that.
You've had quite an influence with a lot of the big debunkers in our community. How did that kind of come about?
I'm not sure what you're referring to. I'm in their chats a lot and talk to them that way, but they influence me more than anything else, I would have thought. People like FDFE, he's a bit of an idol. I love the way he expresses himself and communicates his ideas.
Cool. Yeah, I was actually kind of referring to how easily you come to mind in their online presentations. I hear your name mentioned a lot, and I'm wondering if that's just because of the interesting wordplay or other reasons.
Wordplay? What wordplay?
It's funny how this all began.
I think it's more because, it might be name recognition, and but I back that up with the videos that I've started to put out in the last 6 months or so. So, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, I thought maybe we'd start our first video with one of those big debunkers who you did a video for while he was on vacation, Mr. MC Toon. So this is What Flurfs Say About Antarctica. I've watched this video. It's a good video, everyone, so pay close attention. And for those of you who are new, please head on over to Hugh's channel, sub, like, share, subscribe. It's a great channel. It really is. It's coming along wonderfully, and it's going to grow more and more. I can guarantee it. So, Colin, let's roll that first video.
So I'm on vacation for a couple weeks. I thought.
All right, and we're back. Sorry about that, folks. A little bit of a technical issue. It seems everything is running okay. So let's try that video again.
So I'm on vacation for a couple weeks. I thought, what better way to celebrate that than to have a couple creators that I like do some videos on my channel. So I asked Hugh if he would do that, and he said sure. So Mr. Jarsz has a video here coming up right after this. I've got the link to his channel in the description. You could watch the video here and then go to his channel, or you could just jump right over to his channel. Either way is fine with me. I highly recommend it. I am subscribed to Hugh. And I suggest that you do too. So here it is, Mr. Hugh Jarsz.
Thanks, MC Toon, and thanks for the opportunity to reach a wider audience. I hope everyone enjoys the show.
Hugh Jarsz.
Hugh Jarsz.
Hugh Jarsz.
Hugh Jarsz. Hugh Jarsz. Hugh Jarsz. Hugh Jarsz.
Hugh Jarsz.
I love you, Hugh.
The video you're about to see is part of a series that Where's Wally is doing on things that Flurfs say. Wally gave me Antarctica to have a look at. Let's see what Flurfs say about Antarctica and why they're wrong.
First thing they say is that it's an ice wall at the edge of the Earth. Well, actually, some flat earthers say that it's an ice wall preventing us getting to lands on the other side of the wall. Others say that the ice wall is there holding in the world's oceans. Whatever. They all say that there is an ice wall. This is pretty easy to disprove. Then again, isn't it always easy? For a start, if they mean the coast of Antarctica is an ice wall, well then that's easily shown as false. Many tourist companies take people to Antarctica every summer around Christmas time. They give tourists the chance to actually stand on the continent of Antarctica. To do that, you need an actual coast to land on. Just one area where you can do that disproves the coastal ice wall idea. Yes, there are parts of the Antarctic coastline that resemble an ice wall, but to hold in the world's oceans, wouldn't all of the coastline have to be that? So what if the ice wall was further inland? Well, I think those who travel and live and work at the South Pole Station would have noticed it. Yes, they all could be in on the conspiracy, but surely the necessary number of people in on it at some point gets to ridiculous levels. Ridiculous even for people desperate to believe that we live on a flying rock pizza for some reason. And Antarctica has been crossed many times by air and on the surface. No ice wall reported. Certainly no dome coming down to the ground. Not to mention that we have satellite images that show Antarctica as one continent. and that the Earth is a globe. Yes, I'm sure you believe space is fake. I refer you to what I just said about how ridiculous the conspiracy would have to be for you to be correct. Regardless, anyone who incorporates fictional elements from recent popular culture into their view of reality is someone who doesn't actually have a valid view of reality. The second thing that flat earthers say about Antarctica is that you can't go there. The Antarctic Treaty prevents it, and the military actively prevents it. Well, I've already mentioned that the tourist companies can take you there, so that disproves that. I'm sure you believe that they do that on purpose to give the impression that you can. But if there is a military presence preventing all other access to Antarctica, how come many people have sailed there on their own, such as these people? How come adventurers regularly go there to trek across the White Continent, or to climb one of the challenging mountains? People who say the Antarctic Treaty prevents access to Antarctica are people who haven't actually read it. There is absolutely nothing in there that says that. Correct me in the comments if you found a clause that does. I dare you. And think about the logistics if the military prevented access. Assume that the azimuthal equidistant projection is the best representation of the flat Earth. Flat Earthers don't offer anything else, so we'll have to go with that. We know that the distance pole to pole is roughly 20,000 kilometres. So in the Frisbee world, the circumference is approximately 2 pi r, where r is 20,000 kilometres. That's about 125,664 kilometres of wall to patrol. For scale, the distance across the United States, or even across Australia, is only about 4,000 kilometres. So the governments of the world, who never agree on anything, are somehow pooling their resources and patrolling 31 times that distance, just to keep out the occasional wayward explorer, who somehow get to the continent anyway. And this completely ignores the difficulty of doing anything at all in that region of the world due to climate and weather. You know, at what point does all this become just too ridiculous to be likely? A third thing the flat earthers say about Antarctica involves Admiral Byrd. He was the first person to fly over the South Pole, and indeed across Antarctica, so that in itself disproves the Antarctica isn't a continent theory. But somehow, complete morons ignore that and twist the words of the good Admiral to suit their crazy worldview. What they particularly pick up on is this. They interpret dome as the firmament. It's a bit of a jump, considering part of Byrd's work in Antarctica was to perform geological surveys, where the word dome has a specific meaning. A volcanic dome is just an outcrop of rock, basically. And he talked about there being lots of land. He was correct, but it's covered in snow and ice. I'm sure Byrd was looking at it as if that land could be exploited like northern Canada or Siberia is. And being an admiral, he probably didn't think much of the difficulties in running shipping to Antarctica. It's all possible, but Byrd wasn't an economist or businessman. Being possible and being economically viable are two different things.
Thanks again to MC Toon for the opportunity to show you my video. If you like what you see, hop over to my channel, link is in the description, and subscribe. Don't forget to give MC Toon a like for this video, and if you look at my channel, give it a like there too. One of the things my channel is about is corgis. I own 2 of them. Here's a little bit of footage of them. I hope you find them as cute as I do. And I've always finished my shows off with a barking corgi. Oh, and don't forget to watch right to the end. There's a little Easter egg. So there's nothing left to do but cue the corgi.
You're despicable.
Hugh Jarsz says, I love Hugh Jarsz and I cannot lie.
That was a good video, Colon. It was really actually quite well put together. Why did you pick that one?
You talking to Colin or me?
No, I was asking you.
Oh, okay. Well, as I said at the beginning of that one, Wally had asked me to do a segment on what flirts say. He's now released it, but he sat on it for quite a while he was waiting for other creators to do their thing, and he needed a cut down version. This was a longer version, and then MC Toon asked me for a video, and I showed him this one, and he liked it, so I put it together as a package for him, and this one's one of my most popular videos, and it did quite well on his channel as well.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I chose it. It did get quite a few views. It did, quite popular indeed. I think maybe we'll see if there's anything in the chat for you. Aimee?
Yep. Sorry about that.
Hey, no
Mute
worries.
button. Thank you. We did have one, and Heat Shield asked, "What is Ars's experience with ships?"
Who's us?
Exactly.
Must be you, Colin. Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, I've got
Maybe
no
if-
experiences with a yardarm.
Awesome.
Well, yardarm's an old naval tradition. A yardarm's on a sailing ship, of course, is one of the things that the sails are attached to, basically. And you weren't allowed to drink until the sun was over the yardarm. And so, not that I have anything to do with ships or anything, but I for my friends, I get a yardarm and I put it straight on the ground. So whenever the sun's in the sky, it's above the yardarm, so they can drink whenever they like.
There you go. That's a good plan. I like that. So you have quite an affinity for corgis. You have two of them, right?
Yes, a black and white one and a brindle and white one.
Ooh.
One's a boy, one's a girl.
Oh, cool. What are their names?
Archie is the boy, who's the brindle one, and Brera, who's the black and white one.
Awesome. How did you develop an interest in corgis?
I had one as a kid when I was growing up, probably from age of 13 on. And yeah, that was a lovely dog. And then I decided for my family I wanted to get them to have the same experience that I had as a kid with my corgi. So I got them corgis.
Cool. They're the Queen's dog, are they not?
The Pembroke version is, yes. So I've got cardigan corgis, which are the original corgi.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
She doesn't have it anymore at the moment because as a 90-year-old woman, they're very much a tripping hazard.
Yeah, they are relatively small dogs. Okay, I have another question for you. This one's a little bit more difficult, but I ask it of all my guests, and that is regarding the year 2020, which has been rather difficult for all of us. I think you'd agree. How has it been for you? Has it impacted your channel or your life in any way?
Well, I started my channel in 2020, so I guess in that sense, it's been great. I wouldn't have a channel otherwise.
True enough.
Yeah.
Have you had a lot of problems with the lockdown over there?
Not so much the lockdown. We did have one for a little while, I guess, but it's been well contained in Australia, it seems. We had a bit of an outbreak in Victoria when they decided to have a protest in the middle of the pandemic, and it started spreading like wildfire, which was rather silly. And that's why the draconian measures in Melbourne came in. But I'm in Brisbane, so it's a long way from Melbourne. It's about 2,000 kilometres. So.
Cool. So it's been kind of running along as per normal lately then, huh?
Yeah. We're not even bothering with masks at the shops anymore. I did for a little while just to sort of minimise the risk, but I don't think there's been a case in Queensland for nearly 3 months now. So it's pretty much dealt with here. And I think in Australia as a whole, there hasn't been a case for over a week.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit longer. So they say it persists in the wild for 2 weeks. So if we get no cases in a week's time or so, then we're COVID free.
Pretty good. It's almost that way here in Vietnam as well. Things are getting pretty much back to normal. It's quite nice. All right. So what's been the biggest challenge you've had so far running your channel?
Just the editing, I guess. The research is always the fun bit, and then you've got to figure out how to put it all together and then you've got to get the sound right, and which I often fail at. I've got a Yeti now, but before I didn't. And yeah, it's just you get this idea and you want to express it, so you get all the bits and pieces you want to express it, and then it's such a chore to get it together and make it work. And then uploading it, that's probably even bigger one. It takes forever to upload to YouTube.
Sometimes it can be quite slow. And I think worse than uploading is sitting there waiting for it to process before it actually gets put out.
Yeah. Well, I've had videos that have taken Nearly, I've set them going when I go to bed, and they're still going when I wake up. It's sometimes a bit of a problem.
Yeah, it can be frustrating. And you don't want to stop it because then you're looking at maybe another 20 hours starting all over again.
Yes, and you're scared to touch anything else in case it all falls apart and goes, you get a blue screen of death or something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Okay, well, let's take this opportunity and move on to our next video, something for us all to chuckle at, and that is how not to convince anyone. So, Colon, can you load that up for us?
Greetings and salutations, this is Hugh Jarsz. Over the last few days, Ranty has regularly been teasing that he's got something that will give Globers a headache. Last night, he finally dropped it. Let's have a look.
Alright, so we are simulating an eclipse. We got a laser with pretty wide beam divergence from about 500 feet down that way. 2 lasers actually. And we ran down here to, we got a moon with an Earth about 4 times the diameter, and we're gonna simulate an eclipse 100 moon width away from the eclipse. Look, you want a shadow, dude? Look,
Okay,
see that black shadow?
I got you.
Keep it in the center.
Okay.
Keep it in the center of the shadow. And start coming away toward me. Here, just record.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, barely a shadow.
So to be fair, this isn't Ranty's video, it's done by a guy called Brian Lee, but Ranty is responsible for putting it on his channel. So after watching this, the only conclusion I can come to is that Ranty's trying to demonstrate how not to convince anyone. So here's my guide as to how not to convince someone using this video as a base. How to not convince someone. Number 1. Make it impossible for people to see what it is that you're showing them. I mean, look at this. What he's trying to do here is show that there is no penumbra from the sun. And yet he's doing it at night. Why not do it in the daytime when the sun's right there? And not only is the sun right there, we can actually see what the hell's going on. Number 2. Completely misunderstand the point you're trying to make. So this whole experiment just shows that they have no idea what they're talking about. I mean, you can't really deny that there is a penumbra because we just had an annular eclipse, which proves it. Penumbras form when the light source is bigger than the object causing the shadow. In the case of a lunar eclipse, it's the Earth that's forming the shadow, and it's smaller than the sun. In the case of a solar eclipse, the moon is forming the shadow, and it's definitely smaller than the sun. The other bit of misunderstanding is that they've used a laser as a light source. A laser isn't the sun, it's a focused point of light. It's going to be much smaller than whatever object you have, so therefore you're not going to get a penumbra. See how easy it is if you just think? Number 3. Don't explain why your experiment is a valid experiment. It's obvious why they don't do that, because it's not, as I just explained. Number 4. Declare that you've actually proved something when you've done nothing of the sort.
So basically, no matter what we did not get an umbra, period. I went probably about maybe 150, 200, at least 150, but probably more like 200. Anyway, no umbra, no penumbra, not with a laser beam anyway.
It's worth noting that they actually did get an umbra. An umbra is just the shadow, the darkest part of the shadow. They definitely got that. In terms of declaring victory, well, obviously they've got to do that because what they've done hasn't proven anything. And if you don't declare that you've proven it, people might think otherwise from watching your video. So there you have it. How not to make a video. I'm utterly amazed that Ranty still has this up on his channel. You'd think he'd take it down because just from embarrassment. It's just so appalling as a video. And as a video, let alone as proof of anything. So I'm not the one to just be negative. Let's have a look at how it should be done. Mr. Sensible, your turn.
So I start by lining the disc up so you can see it's the same size as the circle. I then move it away, trying to keep the shadow as central over that circle as I possibly can. Then we zoom in so we can get a better view of what is produced. Having done that, I just bring the object back to the circle, and this is all in one shot, so there's no trickery. If you stare at the circle, your eye should be able to pick up the faint edges of the penumbra just outside the circle. It's only just off-white and extremely difficult to see.
There's more to Mr. Sensible's video than that. I'll leave a link in the description so you can check it out for yourself. He did all the work. Go to his channel for the views. But what you've seen is the equivalent of what Brian should have done. It's been done properly. And the rest of the video takes it to the next level. Something Brian should have done as well. So there you go. Like and subscribe if you like this video and you like what I do. Feel free to make a comment as well. And you can find me on Discord if you want to have more interactions with me. Nothing left to do but cue the corgi.
You're despicable.
So many dogs don't have that. That was a really good video. I enjoyed that, especially the end with Mr. Sensible. Man, that is the stupidest experiment I've ever seen.
Well, the amazing thing about it was Ranty was teasing it as a headache for globe heads. But I was thinking, God's sake, Randy, if that's the best you can do. And he went one step further later on. He posted that video by the supposedly Dr. John D, who thought he filmed France from Worthing. And I did a video on it and showed, well, if it was, you've got to prove that it's France before you've got anything to talk about. And yet Ranty advertised it as the best flat earth evidence bar none, which he was kind of correct because there is no flat earth evidence. So by definition, it's the best.
By default.
Yeah.
Oh, these people, man, I swear, they just drive me insane. But good old Danny Pratt's there to save the day.
Yep, that added so much to the video, didn't it? Thank you, Daniel Pratt, for being such an idiot.
Absolutely. As you said in the background, he's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, he gives a whole lot of crap as well, though. He's not a particularly nice person. I wish he'd stop that sort of stuff. But if he can keep up with the derp, we will keep using it in our videos.
Oh, yeah. I don't see an end to that anytime soon. Aimee, does the chat have anything they'd like to ask Jarsz?
Oh, actually, we do have one thing. Heat Shield has a dog question. He says his terrier has logged more miles in reverse than most any forward gear. Are corgis capable of walking backwards?
They can, but given they're bred as cattle dogs, they're very much a go forward at all costs sort of dog.
That's cool.
People are surprised when they hear they're cattle dogs because they're such little, well, not little, but short, have tiny little legs and things like that. But that's why they're bred as cattle dogs. So the cattle, when they kick at the dog, they don't break the legs. Whereas if it was a border collie or something, they'd have more of a target. The cattle would have more of a target. So yeah, but they're very fast. They can jump quite high actually, despite little legs. And they love to run. I've got a nice big backyard, and they're always chasing after each other, which is great to see.
Yeah. Well, they're classified as a working dog, are they not?
Yes. Yeah. A cattle dog.
Yeah, absolutely. I love them. I think they're the cutest dogs in the world. And I like Jack Russells too.
Yeah, a lot of people in Britain have Jack Russells, actually. I remember when I worked in a pub there, a lot of people came in with their dogs.
Yeah. Smart as a whip, those dogs. Smart as a whip.
Very loyal and very insular, too. They're a bit scared of other people. Yeah.
Just to remind the chat, everyone, if you haven't yet, I'd encourage you to head on over to Hugh Jarsz' channel and give him a sub and a like, and have a look at his content. It's a really great channel, and it's growing. And anything we can do to help it grow some more, by all means, do so. And with that, let's move on to a couple of other questions. First of all, well, considering what we've just seen, what is the stupidest thing that you have ever seen or heard?
That's hard to pick just one.
It is.
I mean, Ranty saying that was the best flat Earth evidence bar none, as if he actually proved that the Earth was flat or something, is pretty stupid. And he's still doing it as far as I can tell. It's just amazing that he does that sort of thing. But pretty much anything Daniel Pratt says is pretty much the stupidest thing I've heard anyone say. As we said before, it just keeps falling out of his mouth.
Yeah, he just can't seem to stop it, huh? Jeez. Okay, well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, he wanted to prove curvature by getting a 50-meter swimming pool and measuring the curve on that. Well, how are you going to get the water to settle down so that you can measure it? And, there is curvature in that, but it'd be so tiny, you'd have to have some very precise sort of instruments to measure it. And like I said, you'd have to get the water absolutely flat, which it's not going to be if there's any air. He just didn't think through it at all. And yet he's so adamant that he's got the answer, That's FLIRTs in general. They're so adamant about that they're correct, that they just ignore the fact that there's just no way they could be.
Yeah, exactly. They just look at the very surface of something, and as soon as they see something that they think is the proof, that's it. They stop looking any further. I've got the answer to everything.
Yeah, but you're wrong. It's obviously wrong. Yeah, but that doesn't matter. I'm right.
Yeah, exactly. And no matter what you say to them, you'll never change their mind. So really, the only thing we can hope for as debunkers is to educate the fence sitters who might just be ready to topple over to their side and bring them back to ours.
Absolutely spot on. People like Rachie 50, I'm not sure she's that genuine sometimes, but she seems to be oscillating between the two sides. But she's the sort of person that I do my channel for. I want to be able to explain to her. In fact, I've got a video coming up where I got her to ask me her top questions, and I'm going to answer them all. And because, if you can answer your top questions, every other question must be insignificant in comparison.
Exactly.
And yet there won't be enough, because I think in the end she wants to believe in a flat Earth. And I never get that bit. You can't convince people who don't want to believe. And it's not about belief, really. It's about whether or not you can prove it.
True. But where does that want come from? That's the question.
And it's that special knowledge concept that a lot of people talk about, that they know something that everyone else doesn't know, but even if it's wrong.
Yeah. They just want to be special. They want to be different.
Well, they're definitely that, that's for sure. Probably not in a good way, though.
No, not in a good way at all. But of all the stupid that gets bashed around in our community, which conspiracy or claim gets to you the most? I mean, really gets under your skin?
It'd be a toss-up between anti-vaxxers and 5G. Because anti-vaxxers because it kills people, and 5G because it's so utterly stupid and so utterly debunked. It's even more debunked than flat Earth. And yet there's people like Mark Steele going on and on and on about it all the time. And he's a persuasive guy. People follow him. People listen to him. And they shouldn't, because there is no danger from 5G. They think it stands for 5 gigahertz, the idiots. What's going to happen when we get 6G?
Exactly. And it's going to get bigger than that later. Technology just keeps advancing. I mean...
Well, yeah, and you kind of want it to, don't you? Otherwise things don't get better if things don't advance.
Well, that's just it. I mean, it's called progress. And that's what the world is about, making progress.
But the whole premise of the 5G conspiracy is that people are actively using some sort of magic rays to kill people. Why?
Well, yeah.
Why would you want to?
Yeah. what would be the sense in it? First of all, what would be the motivation? There is none. And not only that, every time I ask the question, how can you possibly transmit a biological agent over electronic airwaves?
Yeah, do you think we have transporters yet? You know, to
Yeah.
me, the only we do have transporters. It's called a bottle of whiskey, because often I've drunk a bottle of whiskey and ended up in a completely different place. You know.
Oh, well, I've done that a few times.
Yeah, that's when I woke up anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, you mentioned earlier that a lot of this is because people want to feel like they're special, or they have special knowledge that everyone else is lacking. And for some people, that gets so bad that they seem to assume that they are the end-all, be-all expert in everything. And our next video is one of those people. So let's have a look at that. This is our guru, Joey Rocha, on shrooms, which is not surprising. So, Colin, let's load that one up.
Greetings and salutations, this is Hugh Jarsz. And I've been umming and ahhing on this one. It's about Joey Rocha. Last week he had a live stream, which I went on in the chat, and it was Ask Him Anything live chat. I asked him several questions that would be tough for a flat earther to answer, and I got some very interesting responses. But that's not why I've been umming and ahhing on this. Since then, he has put out an awful lot of crap. He seems to consider himself some sort of guru now. So I've been umming and ahhing as to whether or not I just do the video I originally thought, or somehow incorporate all this new stuff. But I've come to the conclusion to incorporate all the new stuff is just a massive video, and that's probably not so entertaining. So let's just have a laugh at all the silly things that he's said in response to my questions. What? Who are you pointing at?
I'm going to eat some tacos.
Hey, now you're talking my language.
Did you block Marty Flett on JRE? No way. I love Marty Flett. Marty Flett is my homie. I actually have a man crush on Marty Flett. I would never block Marty Flett. If Marty Flett wanted to take my wife out on a date, I would totally allow him to take my wife out on a date. I have nothing but all the love in the world for Marty Flett. So no, I didn't block Marty Flett. I love Marty Flett. He's legit as shit. So no, definitely didn't.
Legit as... Usually that doesn't mean that it's a good thing. And you'd let your wife go on a date with someone else? It sounds like you and Marty Flett need to get a room.
See, I make videos, some fun videos, some Q&As, like even this video. I'll delete it in 2 days. So I let them stay up for 2 days and then I delete them. Unless I have an important message, I don't want my videos to just be flooded with hundreds and hundreds of videos. People can't find the good content.
Joey, I suspect even if you lift them up, finding good content would still be a problem.
Unless it's something that I think is pretty worthwhile, then I don't leave it up.
So you're basically saying everything you produce isn't worthwhile. I see.
I've done mushrooms lots and lots and lots and lots of times, and I love mushrooms a whole bunch. Mushrooms is probably my favorite psychedelic.
Well, I'll say the obvious. This explains a lot about Joey. However, of all the things you can take, I think shrooms are one of the least problematic. But the problem I have with anyone taking anything psychedelic is that they then go out. And they're out there on the roads with the rest of us. There's enough bad drivers in the world without those high on shrooms or whatever joining the fray. I want to get home safe. If you do this, stay at home, for God's sake.
But I love shrooms. If I had shrooms right now, I'd take them. Right this second. Right live with you folks. Live. I would be eating shrooms. You guys would see me have a psychedelic experience. Right here live in front of everybody. I mix my psychedelics. I mix cannabis, shrooms. Should I say the other psychedelics that I use? Yeah, I should. I don't actually condone acid, but I don't mind taking acid, even though I don't condone it. It's really strange that I should say that. But, you know, in like one tab, that's about it, because I don't like having a bad trip. But I don't really recommend acid to anybody, because there's natural psychedelics. I recommend those.
Look, to each his own is my attitude, but I know at least some of those things are illegal, and to go live on YouTube and publicly declare that you take them
Probably not a smart idea. And I know you have a little daughter. What sort of example are you setting her? So then he engages in a bit of conspiracy-fueled nuttery and eventually gets around to my question. He ignored the first question I posted, and so I asked him again, what does he think of the South Celestial Pole? Strap yourselves in for this one.
Hugh Jarsz says, no thoughts on the South Celestial Pole. Hugh, there is no South Celestial Pole. If you're talking about flat Earth and comparing it to the globe, see, a lot of people say, oh, yeah, Joey, well, you know, when they're talking to me, trying to debate me on the globe. First of all, if anybody ever wants to debate me on a globe, even though I don't talk about flat Earth as much as I used to, I can crush anybody. I've been debating fools on the flat Earth for 7 years. I debated people like Robert Sungenis, who has a PhD. I've debated so many people and crushed them. You see, so the South Celestial Pole does not exist. Take the globe and smash it, right? And then there's the flat Earth. Now turn it around, and guess what you see? No continents. All you see is the Antarctica, right? And that's supposedly where the South Celestial Pole is. There is no South Pole. The stars don't go in a different direction at the South Pole. It's a hoax. Here's the real quick version of it. You know, when you see the stars going in the opposite direction in the South Pole, supposedly, even though nobody can go there, right? But the videos that they show us on National Geographic, well, here's the trick to it. It's just a stupid trick. All they do is they play the video in reverse. You want to know how I figured this out? Okay, well, you know, whenever they're filming it and you see the stars going the opposite direction, you're like, whoa, wow, they're going the opposite direction in the South Pole. Well, they also show a few vehicles on the road. And a lot of their videos, I don't know why, but you can still see, because they're on the ground, you can still, as they're panning around, they show vehicles that are driving on the road. And here's the telltale sign. You can see that it's being played in reverse because you can see, you know how cars have a reflector light in the back? You can see that reflector light going, showing that it was played in reverse. It's not forward. So that's all they did for the South Celestial Pole, to trick people. Anybody who gets tricked into seeing the stars go the opposite direction of the South Pole has been hoaxed and tricked. There is no South Pole. There's a flat, motionless Earth, and there's north in the middle. That's a magnetic north. Everything else is south. What's not north is south of it. We call it east, west, whatever. Those are just opposite directions from north. Good question.
I don't really need to say anything, do I? I mean, if any of that made sense or seemed remotely credible, perhaps you should cut back on the shrooms.
What an absolute idiot. The poster boy for dunning-kruger.
Yes, it was. That was quite an amazing live stream. He just said all sorts of stupid shit.
And the fact that he's, like you said, he goes live on there and admits he does shrooms and psychedelics. What kind of an idiot you have to be to do that?
Well, as far as I know, he hasn't been arrested or anything, so I guess he's gotten away with it. But yeah, it just how his brain works. He says, "Oh, there's no South Celestial Pole." So, first of all, he's assuming there isn't one because he's never been to the Southern Hemisphere, and he's never seen it, so therefore it can't exist. You know, I haven't seen Russia. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Well, actually, I have. I flew over it at one point, but yeah. Anyway, that's irrelevant. So, and then he says, "Oh, it's a stupid trick. You know, they just play it in reverse, so it looks like the stars are going the other way around." And it's, you know how you know? Because there's tail lights on cars in the video. What? Where does he connect all these different points of ideas together to come up with a ironclad explanation? You know, it just How does any human brain work that way?
Well, yeah, with the help of shrooms, I guess it's possible.
Yeah, I don't think he was on shrooms at that point, but he's certainly on something from the way he was talking anyway.
Yeah, he looked pretty red in the face to me.
And the sad thing is he's got a little daughter and she often appears in his videos, and to think that's the example that she's getting. And of course he's an anti-vaxxer as well, so she's not getting vaccinations. You know, you worry about her. She says, he says she's never had a problem. Well, that doesn't mean she won't have one.
Yeah. And that's what worries me as well. Being a grade school teacher, I have hundreds of kids I have to deal with and set an example for. And people like this out there, it worries me. They get in front of kids like mine and some of them could be swayed easily.
Yeah, I sort of don't mind if their own stupidity causes harm to themselves, but when it harms innocents like children and their own children and that kind of thing, that's where authorities need to step in.
Yeah, agreed. And that's why I was so glad when Nathan Thompson got arrested for trying to do exactly that.
Yeah, and hopefully he gets some consequences out of that. It might teach him a lesson, although I suspect he's not teachable in any way.
I don't think so either. But that actually does kind of bring me to the next topic. I haven't really prepared any videos for this, but it's something I did want to mention. And that is that I noticed on your channel, you've been doing quite a good series of late on men's health. Can you tell us a little bit about how that came about and what you kind of talk about?
Well, women's health as well, we did last week. And the reason I started doing that was the corgis are barking in the background. Can you hear them? I hope not. Hopefully it's not a burglar or anything. So, yeah, men's health, I started, I went to the doctor and I get the PSA test regularly. My dad basically died from prostate cancer about 7 years ago. So, I get the regular checkups like everyone should if you're over a certain age. Always talk to your doctor to get the right advice. And I got 2 high PSA rates, but the PSA test in itself isn't a brilliant test for detecting prostate cancer. But that combined with the fact that I'm the same age my dad was when he was diagnosed with it, meant they sent me off for an MRI. And I still haven't got the results of that back. But I rang up the specialist, the urologist, to see what the results were. And I was told, oh, he'll call you. And he hasn't called me, and it's a week later. But I suspect that's because there isn't anything to really talk about. So hopefully that's good. But that's what sparked off the series. I wanted to, if I was about to start on a journey about prostate cancer, I wanted to tell everyone about it and get them to be more aware of looking after your health. And at the very least, doing regular checks for a whole lot of things like bowel cancer. And but the thing in particular I was, apart from prostate cancer, I was worried about was depression and suicide. Because to me, that's always a tragedy when someone commits suicide as a result of depression and that sort of thing. Because all of those deaths are avoidable, because that's always a choice. And no matter how bleak life might seem at any one point, I can understand people wanting to end the pain, but you also end all your opportunities for it to be better as well.
Yeah.
And there's very few people on this planet who aren't loved by someone, and those people want you around.
Yeah.
And if you take yourself away from them, that affects them as well, not just you. So I always encourage people to see your doctor on a regular basis. If you're not seeing them every 6 months at least, then get to the doctor now. Get your blood tests done regularly. Go get get a colonoscopy. I'm talking about a certain age. When you're a young person, you don't need so many of these things. But you should regularly check your health with your doctor. And if you're depressed or you're feeling sad or you're feeling worthless, go to your doctor as a first step, and they can help you put together a mental health plan, and you can get the treatment you need so that you can get back to where you, at least approach getting back to where you might have been once, or for some people, you even exceed that. You get to lead a long, happy life. And there's a story I heard once where it's a very simple story, really. It's back the kids in high school, and this guy was carrying all these library books, and he kept dropping them. And then this person came over and gave him a hand to help him carry the books. And that little act of kindness made a big difference to the first person, because they were carrying those books to stand on so that they could hang themselves when they got home, because they decided to end it all. But the fact that someone cared at all made them change their mind. And they met again 20 years later. That person who was going to commit suicide became a successful doctor and helped thousands of people as a result. And that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for that one simple act of kindness.
Yeah. Just a little bit of support.
Yeah. And if you're not getting it from your current social networks, there are plenty of others. And if you want to get the right help, start with your doctor. The doctor can advise you where to go.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I myself was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes when I was 45, and I'm almost 60 now. But, it's manageable. And as you said, you talk to your doctor, you follow their advice. And I have a lovely lady with me who constantly on my case about taking my medication. And I'm glad she does it, But that support is needed no matter what the condition is.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So let's see what the chat's got to say. Aimee, is there anything interesting in the chat about this?
Nothing so far, but I was just going to post the National Suicide Hotline number because it's always for at least the states. But yeah, it's something good to just to remark on and remember. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any questions you would like to ask, Aimee?
No, nothing so far. I just think Hugh Jarsz is a riot, and I think that's great that he's also advocating for people for mental health and everything like that. As an advocate, as a fellow advocate too, it's something that that's a wonderful thing, So
yeah, that outside support can make all the difference to somebody.
It absolutely can.
Yeah,
absolutely, it can. Just a kind word sometimes is just something that can really make a difference.
Yeah. So. And for all of those of you in the chat who haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend you go to Hugh's channel, check out those videos. It's a great series. It's coming along really well. I'm looking forward to the next one. And you said you're also doing women's health. Is that right, Hugh?
Yeah, my live stream last Thursday, we did that. We looked at the main conditions with women that they might face in their health challenges that they might face in their lives. And I had a bunch of women along to tell me all about it because I'm a man. I wouldn't know anything about those sort of things. All I can do is tell you what I've read in the book. But they can tell. I've got some really good experiences from Eileen Dover and Mippet 69 who told us about their experiences. Yeah.
Excellent. That's great. So yeah, head on over there, check out those videos and support what Hugh's doing. I think that's a great series that could help a lot of people. Colon, do you have anything you would like to add or ask?
No, I've been really enjoying what Hugh's been putting out, and I kind of befriended Hugh when he first popped on with Mr. Sensible, and I started dropping him a few things. And yeah, I'm probably the reason for the corgi and put your earphones on. Yeah, I love that little video at the end of this. That was brilliant.
Yes, thank you for that, Colin.
It was a pleasure to do it. It really was. And no, with your series on medical health, men's and women's, I've got to agree totally 100% on that. That when it comes down to it, don't be scared of your actual diagnosis that the doctor might be coming up with. It might not be as bad as you think. People always think the worst, and then so think the worst, expect the better.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And if you know somebody who could possibly be suffering from that kind of a condition, depression or other kind of medical conditions that are bringing them down, help them. Be there for them. Show them a little bit of support. Guide them to the proper agencies and the doctors, and help them find the help they need. I firmly believe that.
Ooh. So I was wondering if I could make a request.
Yeah, go right ahead.
We just got a little bit heavy, and there was very important things to cover, but he'd like to have a little bit of a laugh. And Colin, I was wondering if you could go to my channel and line up the Riley unicorn meter ad that I do.
Okay, you'll have to give me a couple of minutes.
Yep, that's all right, because I've done a few ads, and I love doing these things. I just need to come up with the ideas. So I was wondering if anyone in the chat might have an idea of the next ad I can make. But I've done that one on Riley about his little meter that he had there, and it detected certain things. I'm not going to give it away because if you haven't seen the video, you probably don't want me to spoil it right now. I had another one on Daniel Pratt's water heaters. They're selling quite well right now. And what was the other one? Oh, it was Nathan Thompson's brain hammers.
Oh, jeez. Well, those should be fun.
Well, they are. Everyone enjoys those videos, I think. And they're quite getting sit down with debunkers. Often play those on their some of their videos. They always are. Plenty of silly things to talk about. But sometimes it's a matter of what material you have to do the ad. Because, like Thompson's brain hammers, he does these silly things with his 2 + 2 is 4 and while he's bouncing a ball on a hammer.
In these days of more and more severe climate events,
to go with it. That's
you
the
need to
thing about this
know.
medium. You've got to make sure that you've got pictures to go with whatever it is you're trying to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Picture is worth 1,000 words, is what they always say.
It looks like Colin's nearly ready.
It looks like he's just about there. So before he actually loads that, maybe I'll just pop a quick question. If you had the power to utterly erase one channel from YouTube, which would it be?
Well, that's a bit of a question. My first thought is Nathan Oakley.
Exactly mine.
Yeah, because he's just a nasty piece of work, and anyone who gets involved with him, they're just going to be sucked into his terrible mindset, you might say. The world's better off without him. The YouTube world is better off without him. But there are other like Nathan Thompson's probably someone who doesn't really need a platform anymore. There's a few. And Daniel Pratt's, a lot of people who've proven in recent weeks that they're not very nice people, and the world's better off without having them, spewing their crap everywhere. But hey, I also believe in free speech, so I'd much rather have them saying these things, and then we can laugh at them, and that puts that gives the proper context for what they say. So
yeah, true enough. But,
okay, I think we're set.
Awesome.
Right.
Okay, well, let's run that and have a look.
In these days of more and more severe climate events, you need to know. How many farts does your unicorn produce? Anthony Riley to the rescue! Yes, renowned genius Anthony Riley brings to you the Riley brand unicorn farts meter. Now you too can find out how many unicorn farts are in a glass of water.
It's going to measure the density of the tap water. Okay, that's coming in at 212 unicorn farts.
Riley brand unicorn farts meter. It'll blow you away.
That's hilarious. And they run 45 minutes or 45 seconds or something?
Yeah, just a short thing, but it's probably my favourite video, I think, just because it's funny. But also Riley, he's just, that egg experiment, you could tell he had no thought whatsoever into it. He just wanted to prove what he wanted to say rather than the facts determining his opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, God, that was such a stupid experiment. And he had no clue what was going on throughout the whole thing.
Absolutely. He just, like I said, he just wanted to find something that supported what he wanted to say.
Cool.
If you ever seen AB Science's redoing of that experiment, he utterly shows how a real scientist actually does experiments, and the difference is stark.
Oh, it is like night and day. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, AB Science, he's an awesome guy. He's
yeah.
a proper scientist, a physicist.
Yep.
And yeah, I really look to him for when I have a tough question about science, I go to him.
Yeah, most people do. He's a very, very knowledgeable and very amiable fellow. He's easy to talk to, and he explains things well. Absolutely, I agree. So yeah, that was fun. I like that. That was really fun. So anybody in the side chat, if you got ideas for these short little ads for Hugh to make, pass them along to Hugh. I'd like to see more of those. They look funny. Awesome. Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll wrap things up here, and I usually do that with a list of what I call quick fire questions. And I've got 10 of them. So if you're ready, we can go through those. What do you say?
That sounds like fun.
Awesome. So these are quick fires, and just answer with whatever you want. Okay. All right, here we go. Number 1, and this is probably obvious: cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Mm-hmm. Shrimp or steak?
Steak.
Okay. Crocodile Dundee or the crocodile?
The crocodile.
Blues, rock, or pop?
Ooh, I guess rock.
Okay. Star Wars or Star Trek?
If you'd asked me this question after the original Star Wars trilogy, I would have said Star Wars. But then we got Star Trek Discovery now. So probably neither right now.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a fair enough answer.
Yeah.
Okay. NASA, SpaceX, or Blue Origin?
I'd have to go for SpaceX. Did you see the video that came out recently where they did SpaceX but to the Thunderbirds theme?
No, I have not, but I do have it in my watch later list, so I will be getting to
it. That's really awesome, that is. Yeah, I love that. It's gone viral. So it should. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I was a huge Thunderbirds fan when I was a kid. Never missed a show.
Yeah, and that music just makes all the difference, So
yeah.
You'll love that when you see it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I'm gonna probably push it up to the top of the list. All right, whiskey or beer?
Whiskey.
Okay. Now the next one is a person living or dead that you would most like to meet if you could.
You hear these questions, that sort of question asked a lot, but I don't think I've ever thought about the answers myself, I think I would like to meet my great-grandfather. He was the first of my family to come out to Australia. He was a Scotsman, and he was a sea captain. So he sailed all around the world. So, I've flown all around the world. My dad was in the airlines. He flew around the world. So we did the modern equivalent of what my great-grandfather did. And he did things like rescue ships off the Great Barrier Reef during the war and things like that.
Awesome.
I think he'd be able to tell me about the family history in Scotland and things like that. So I think I'd like to meet him.
That's a really good answer. Okay, now the other side of the coin, the person you would most avoid meeting.
Daniel Pratt, just because of the smell.
Good answer. Good answer. And the last one, the top 3 things on your bucket list.
I'm always saying, oh, yes, that's on the bucket list, but I never think about what the top 3 is. Well, I guess 2 of them would be to go to Rome and to go to Paris, because I've been to Europe many times. I lived in the UK for a while, but I've never actually gotten to Rome and Paris.
Okay.
And I love Alfa Romeos, but I haven't been to the Alfa Romeo Museum in Milano yet, so I'll probably go to there.
Excellent. One more.
Oh, I was counting Rome and Paris as two, but yeah, okay, I'll come up with a third one. No, I'll come up with a third one. To muck about on a yacht in the Mediterranean with a princess. How about that? Scandinavian princess.
Sounds like a good one. That sounds like a wonderful idea. Absolutely. Well, that's about it for my questions. I run to the end of my page. But let's check in with the side chat one more time and see if there's anything there. Aimee?
Yes, we have from Heat Shield. He has a great hashtag. Ask ours. Are you the future upside down team skeptic? Costume motivated question.
Well, I'm sort of like the team skeptic from the Mirror universe because he's really, really skinny, and I'm quite the opposite.
There you go.
Awesome. All right. So, Colon, any final thoughts about the show tonight with Hugh?
Thanks for putting me on the spot to try and throw another video up. So that was a quick
You rose to the
download
challenge.
and setup. Yeah, unfortunately, I also blanked the screen off. So apologies to everybody out there in the YouTube universe that happened. I forgot to use studio mode, but we got there. No, you keep on doing what you're doing, man. You're good. You're funny. You've got a incredible attitude to actually what you're actually trying to put out there, and you put it across in a really cool way. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Aimee, do you have any final thoughts or comments? I do. I just want to reiterate what Colon was saying too. I mean, it's just his attitude is so great, and his sense of humor is wonderful, and the things you're putting out there, you put a positive spin on it. I think it's great, and the health things are wonderful too. Keep up the great work. You're doing awesome.
Exactly. And
well, thank you.
I'd like to reiterate what Aimee just said. I think that your series on men's and women's health is an awesome thing. It's well needed and well received, and I hope you will continue on. And I wish you great success with that. For everyone in the side chat, once again, please head on over to Hugh's channel. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe. Give him a like, show some support. It's a great channel and it will grow. You can be sure of that. Also, the Joe Orochi video was edited for time, so I highly encourage you to head over and watch the full-length version. And aside from that, it's been great having you, Hugh. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you had a good time.
I did, and I'm amazed at how awake I am seeing it's 2:13 in the morning.
Well, there you go. I told you it wouldn't take very, very long, and you can go back to bed now.
Well, I must have been kept awake by my steaming cup of reason.
Well, there you go. I have that effect on people. I'm sorry. Just it's part of who I am, you know?
Yeah.
Awesome. So again, thank you for coming out, everyone. It's been wonderful having you all here. And remember, we're here every week from now on Saturdays. At 3 p.m. UK time, and this will be the new scheduled slot from today moving forward. So it's been great having you all here. If you'd like the Mega Mirror and you'd like to support the Mega Mirror, you can do so here on the iNetwork, or you can do so through Patreon or PayPal on the Steaming Cup of Reason channel. Your support is greatly appreciated and goes to making the show better. So thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you again on the next Mega Mirror Live.